They say some places are never meant for the living. Our family learned that truth the hard way. Many years ago, in our village, my family decided to build a new house. The land seemed ordinary, but the villagers whispered about its dark past. Some said the soil was cursed. Others claimed that long ago, terrible things had happened there, things no one dared to speak of directly. My parents dismissed it all as superstition. But then, not long after the house was completed, tragedy struck. My grandfather died suddenly. His death was so abrupt, so unexplained, that even the strongest members of our family couldn't shake the feeling that something unnatural was tied to this new home. From that day on, the house never felt like a normal home. It carried a strange weight in the air, as if the walls themselves were breathing with us. During the day, the place looked calm, almost welcoming. But as soon as night fell, a heavy uneasiness crept in. It was the kind of feeling that made the hairs on the back of your neck rise, like unseen eyes were watching, always watching. I was only 14 at the time, and my younger brother was 11. For us, childhood should have been filled with play and laughter, but instead, nights inside that house were filled with silence, fear, and the constant feeling that something sinister lurked in the shadows. Every creak of the wooden doors, every rustle outside the window, made us hold our breath. My mother tried to comfort us, telling us it was just the wind or just an animal passing by. But deep down, even she couldn't deny the heavy, suffocating energy that surrounded the house after dark. And we were about to face a night far worse than all the others. That night, the storm came early. The sky turned black before sunset, and the air smelled of rain and damp earth. My father, who usually returned home before nightfall, called to say he would not be coming back. Work had kept him in town. The moment my mother told us, an icy wave of fear washed over me and my younger brother. When father was at home, we at least felt a little safer. But tonight, the house would have only us, my mother, my little brother, and me. As the evening deepened, the storm grew worse. The rain hammered against the tin roof like 1,000 hands clawing to get inside. The wind howled through the cracks of the windows, rattling them with a ghostly shriek. The entire house trembled under nature's fury. Then, just as the clock struck 9, the power went out. Darkness swallowed the room's whole. The only light came from the quick flashes of lightning splitting the sky outside. Every strike illuminated the house for just a second long, empty hallways. The shadows of the furniture stretching like monsters across the wall. The pale faces of my mother and brother sitting close to me. The silence between thunderclaps was even worse. It was the kind of silence that seemed to breathe with you, that made you believe something was moving in the dark, just out of sight. We huddled together in the main room. My little brother gripped my hand so tightly it hurt, his body shaking with every rumble of thunder. My mother tried to distract us with soft words, but her eyes betrayed her. She was just as afraid. And then, it began. Through the sheets of rain outside, I felt it before I saw it, the strange sensation that someone was out there, standing in the storm, staring at our house. At first, I ignored it, telling myself it was only my imagination. But then, a lightning bolt split the night sky. For the briefest of moments, I saw a figure. Someone or something was standing just beyond our gate. It was the shape of an old, hunched woman. Her clothes clung to her thin frame, soaked from the rain, her tangled hair plastered across her face. She didn't move. She didn't knock. She just stood there, watching. The sight froze the blood in my veins. The lightning struck again, and this time, I'd see her more clearly. The old woman was still there, her head tilted slightly to one side, as though she was studying our house. Her clothes clung to her body, and her back was hunched, making her look almost animal-like. My breath caught in my throat. I whispered to my mother, "Someone's outside." At first, she didn't believe me, but when the lightning flashed once more, her face went pale. She saw it too. "Maybe she's a villain," my mother muttered, trying to convince herself. "Maybe she got caught in the rain and needs shelter." Her words sounded brave, but her voice was shaking. My little brother, however, reacted differently. His eyes widened in sheer terror. He clutched at Mother's saree and cried out, "Don't open the door. Please, don't open it." My mother tried to calm him. "It's just an old woman. If she needs help, how can we leave her outside in this storm?" Slowly, she walked towards the door. My brother sobbed harder, begging her not to. My heart pounded so loudly it echoed in my ears. Every instinct in me screamed that something was wrong with that figure. Mother unlocked the first wooden latch, but left the main iron door shut. She called out into the storm, her voice trembling. "Who are you? Did you lose your way? Do you need shelter?" For a moment, there was only the sound of rain. The old woman didn't answer. Then, it came, a voice, but not a normal voice. It was as if two people were speaking at once, one male, one female. Their tones blended together in a horrifying chorus that echoed through the walls of the house. "Open the door." The words slid into the room like poison, low and unnatural, vibrating in my chest. My mother froze. Her hand dropped from the lock. Her eyes widened in horror. She had realized what I already knew: this was no ordinary human voice. My brother wailed, "Don't open it. Don't open it." Mother slammed the wooden latch shut again, her hands trembling. She pulled us both close to her, as if shielding us from something unseen. But the nightmare had only just begun. The rain lashed harder against the tin roof, roaring like an endless drum. We sat frozen, huddled together in the dim shadows of the powerless house. Mother's breathing was fast, her arms wrapped around me and my little brother, as if her embrace alone could shield us from whatever lurked outside. But then a sound shattered the storm. Thud. Something slammed against the window to our right. The glass rattled violently, the wooden frame groaning under the impact. My brother screamed, burying his face in Mother's lap. Before we could even process what had happened, thud, thud, this time from the left side of the house. It was impossible. Just seconds before, something had struck the right window with terrifying force. And now, in less than the blink of an eye, it was on the opposite side. No human could move that fast. The sound returned, louder, angrier. Bang, bang, bang. From one side, then the other, back and forth, right to left, left to right. The window shook so hard it felt like the glass would shatter at any moment. And then we heard it again. That same unearthly, twisted voice. Male and female layered together in perfect, horrific harmony. "Open the door, open the door." The words repeated again and again, each time growing louder, more urgent, as if the voices were right inside our heads. My mother's lips moved quickly, whispering prayers under her breath. She clutched us tightly, rocking us back and forth as though she could drown out the noise with her own voice. But the banging didn't stop. It was everywhere. 1 second at the front door, the next at the window, the next from the back wall. It was as though the thing outside was circling the house at impossible speed, striking every surface, trying to break it. Every crash shook the house to its foundation. Every word of that cursed chant sent a chill crawling across my skin. I dared to glance at the window during one flash of lightning, and I wished I hadn't. For just an instant, I saw her again, the hunched old woman. She was right at the glass, her pale, drenched face pressed close to the window pane, her eyes hollow and black, her mouth moving in perfect sync with the voice that wasn't hers alone. "Open the door." Her lips stretched into a smile far too wide for her face. I fell back, trembling, my voice caught in my throat. That was no human. That was no lost villager. Whatever stood outside our house that night was not from this world. The storm raged on outside, but the terror inside the house was far worse. The banging had become deafening. Every wall, every door, every window shook as if dozens of invisible fists were hammering against them at once. My brother's sobs turned into screams, and my own body felt frozen in place, unable to move, unable to think. The voice did not stop. Over and over, that twisted chorus of male and female tones filled the house like a dreadful chant. "Open the door, open the door." It was no longer a request. It was a command. My mother's face had gone pale, her eyes glistening with both fear and determination. She pulled us even closer, wrapping her arms around us like a shield. And then, in a voice steadier than I had ever heard, she began to recite a yodel kursi. At first, her voice was trembling. The storm outside roared so loudly it almost drowned her out. But she continued. With each verse, her tone grew stronger, firmer, more defiant. And that's when I noticed something. The banging slowed. The voice, that terrible, layered voice that had shaken our very souls, began to falter. The strikes against the glass turned weaker. The crashes against the walls faded, until finally, only the sound of the rain remained. For the first time that night, the house was silent. I dared to look toward the window. The glass was cracked in places, wet from the storm, but the figure was gone. The space outside was empty, only sheets of rain falling through the darkness. Still, I continued to pray, her voice unbroken, until the final words of the verse left her lips. We sat there, huddled together on the floor, too terrified to sleep, waiting for the morning light to come. Every tick of the clock felt like an hour. Every gust of wind outside made my heart stop, but nothing returned. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the first gray light of dawn crept through the wet windows. The storm had passed. The house was quiet. The horror was gone. But we knew something had changed forever. Within weeks, we left that house behind. My father moved us to the city, far from the cursed land where my grandfather had died, and far from the place where it had come to our door. Yet even now, years later, I cannot escape that night. Sometimes, when the rain falls heavy against my window, I close my eyes and I hear it again. That voice, twisted, broken, inhuman, whispering in the darkness. Open the door, and I know, deep down, whatever it was, is still waiting. Did you enjoy the story? Let us know in the comments. And if you liked it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to The Horror Dream. Want more stories like this? Subscribe to The Horror Dream, and we'll bring you more darkness, just for you. If you enjoy a little chill down your spine, stick around, like, share, and hit that subscribe button, right here on The Horror Dream. Your support keeps us going, so stay with us. Subscribe to The Horror Dream for more spine-tingling tales.